More crochet this week. This time not dolly crochet, but Halloween or gift, or if you like pumpkins, anytime crochet. And this, again, you'll have seen in the thumbnail what it actually is, but can you see how cute is that? Now, this is actually, you know what I'm like, it houses a little secret sweet treat in there. There is a little Ferrero Rocher. I know there are lots of other sweets that do fit as well, because I know people have let me know what sweets it's fitted. So basically you just need a round sort of sweet that, or chocolate. It doesn't really matter what you're using. It also makes a cute doll hat. Why do I always think of doll hats? But it's quite simple to do. It is in 4-ply yarn though, so if you're not used to 4-ply, you might have to have a little play with it. You can make Ferrero Rocher covers in double knit, which I have done before, but I think because you see we've got this ridged effect here, I decided a 4-ply would make that show a little bit better. So we're going to be making this. Again, if you're making it for something larger, you can use double knit and really bring your hook size down, but it's going to be experimentation if you do that, because everybody's tension's that little tiny weeny bit different. And again, don't forget UK terms, get that conversion chart if you need it, and let's go on and make some little cute pumpkins. Doesn't have to be Halloween, could be Thanksgiving. My daughter just loves pumpkins. That is why I thought for her business name she has pumpkin squash as her name. They're cute, they're autumn, they don't have to be Halloween. They're also very tasty. Love pumpkins. We're growing some up at the allotment at the moment, so we should have a nice batch for the autumn period. So that's enough of that. We're going to get on with this little pumpkin top down, and please pop a comment in there, please pop a like, please pop a subscribe, don't forget to do that. And if you've got any queries as well, just pop them in comments and I'll try and answer them. Or you can always send me a message through either my Facebook, Octopudding Facebook, or I have my Instagram as well, which you'll see the pictures. So I will see you all in a moment, top down, to do the little pumpkin. Hi, here we are with our little pumpkin. Yes, you know it, Ferrero Rocher cover. Oh, there are plenty of other chocolates that do fit in there as well. And again, I know in the US they've got different chocolates, and other countries will have probably other chocolates as well that do fit. But over here, I'm using a Ferrero Rocher chocolate. Please let me know if you do use others. I know some people have told me. I know there's some at Marks and Spencer's that fit nicely. There's so many little tiny sweets like that. I mean, this is the size. Look, that's what you are looking for. This is a poor battered Ferrero Rocher, which is probably going to get eaten after this video. So that's my excuse. Then I need a new pack, don't I, then, to make another one. It's quite a simple little pumpkin. It doesn't have to be for Halloween. I mean, pumpkin, we're looking at Thanksgiving, we're looking at Halloween, we're looking at just liking pumpkins. I know I like pumpkins. We're growing them at the allotment as well. So yes, pumpkins are a big thing. And my daughter's business name is even Pumpkin Squash, because she'll have pumpkin anything. But that autumnal feel, it's just one for any time. But yeah, they do make a nice little treat as well. So if you were doing it as a trick-or-treat treat, or perhaps if you, obviously here in the UK we don't do Thanksgiving, but if you were having a Thanksgiving party, you could perhaps pop one on each person's plate. That'd be quite cute. And it is quite simple to make. We are using 4-ply yarn though, and we are using UK terms, so you may need a conversion chart. If you do, obviously pop onto Google and get one of them, or you might have a crochet book with it in anyway. Now this is the yarn I am using. These are sock yarns, so they might be a little bit thinner. I do find sock yarns have a tendency to be a little bit finer than a regular 4-ply yarn, but it should be fine with that. Obviously everybody's tension's different, so that is something you're gonna have to sort of try and gauge yourself. So I'm gonna pop them in there. Now the hook I'm using is a 3mm. That is the other thing where you could change it. If you found you did it in, if you had a regular sock yarn, or not a sock yarn, but it's a 4-ply still, and you found it came out a little bit big, perhaps reduce your hook size. That can make a big difference. I will make a Ferrero Rocher cover with double knit yarn and a 3mm sort of, I know, why did I want to say spoon then? Dear me, because I'm thinking about food. I've not had any breakfast yet. But yes, you can actually reduce the size of your sort of product by just reducing your hook size, or increasing your hook size depending on your tension. So we have that there. I have my scissors, I have my pen, I have my very roughly written out pattern. Look how bad that is. I've just read it through and just to check before I started it, and I'm not even sure what I put at one point, but I know what I'm doing with it, so we'll be okay. This is a pattern that's going to be going up on my site as well, so I'll get that sorted out for you if you prefer the written pattern. I know I like to have a written pattern. use my little yarn bowl because these did come in skeins, so I had to roll them. I do love it when balls of wool are like that though. And now we're going to get on with this. We start with the green, and then obviously we're moving on to the orange. So get that green ready, pop it through my little yarn bowl. So that's not going to go anywhere now. That's the beauty of that. I don't need the scissors, don't need my pen. Well, I will do. I'll put my pen to that side, and we're going to get going. If you're not used to using a 4-ply, don't be scared of it. It's a gorgeous yarn. I would use 4-ply for everything. I know a lot of my tutorials, I do use a double knit because it's the most common yarn for most people. It's the one you can pick up cheap. It's the one that is in lots of stores. You don't have to go to a wool store, whereas 4-ply is sometimes a bit more difficult to get hold of. So on to the hook we go. Now I'm going to start this like I do with all my amigurumi. I'm going to start with 2 chain. I know I saw recently on one of the sites that somebody said about not being able to sort of do a magic ring or magic loop, whatever you want to call it, for their work. I don't use one anyway. This is what I do. 2 chain. Then into the first chain is where I work, and I'm going to do 6 double crochets. Remember UK terms. Well, I will do if I can get it through. There you go. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Now you don't have to do that bit in green if you want. I just thought it blended a little bit better. That's why I did it. So now we're going to do 2 double crochets into each of those 6. So we're giving us 12 stitches. So into that first one. The first one's always hard to get into. There we go. I'm in. So I want 2 double crochets in each one. So that's 2 in my first one, 2 in my second one, 2 in number 3, in number 4, in number 5, and in number 6. So we've got 12 stitches now. Now this next bit is entirely up to you because we're now changing to our orange yarn. For me, I'm going to fasten off and bring in the orange yarn separate, but you don't have to do that. I'll take the green out of the bowl so it doesn't catch. So I'm just going to fasten off. There we go. So that is the very sort of top part of our pumpkin there. So I just need to tighten up my original. There we go. Don't pull too hard with these 4-plies as well. This is quite a solid one because I say it is an artisan one that I've got. So it's got some sort of strength to it, but some you'll pull, snap, and that is really frustrating. So we have our little circle, which is the top part for our stem to go on. So let's get this orange now, because we're now going to move on to treble stitches in our orange. So if we're going to start with trebles, we need to start with a 3 chain because that is where our round is going to start. You can pick wherever you want, if you're doing it my way, to start. I'm going to start just before that because I want to sort of flatten that off as I get to it. So I'm going to start there, I think. Yep. I'm going to just pull my yarn through. I'm going to do a chain and I'm going to double crochet back in because I want to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 more chains because I'd already done 1. And that is going to count as my first treble. There's lots of different ways of doing that. So however you prefer to get your yarn rejoined, but our round needs to start with 3 chain because it's a treble round. And we're going to have 2 trebles in our first one and then a 1 treble. A 2, a 1, a 2 and 1 all the way around. So you've got 6 sets of that and it'll give us 18 stitches. So that is our first one. So I need to do a treble in that same stitch. So that's my first increase. Okay. And then I'm going to do just 1 treble in the next stitch. So that's our first of the combination of sets, and as I say, we need 6 of those. So our second one is 2 trebles in the first stitch, 1 treble in the next stitch. Okay, we're going to do a 2. I can hear my pussycat, I don't know whether you can. We're going to have a 1. Right, I'm just going to pause it there because I am going to let her in. I know she sort of gets in the way sometimes when I'm doing things like this, but we had some sad news last week, and our doggy had to be put to sleep. She was very, very, very poorly. It was not nice, and that's why I've not been doing anything for a little while. But the cat, I think Pippi is sort of missing her, so she wants to sort of come in here with me all the time. So I'm going to pause it and let her in with me. Right, we have Pippi in the house now. You might hear her meowing occasionally. She's on the table. She's generally quite good actually when I'm crocheting, but there is a ball there, so she might watch that. What you doing, eh? You fed up? You come and sit in here then. Right, so where were we? Let's get on with this. So I did a single one, so I need 2 in the next one. She's already looking at the wall. You've got to behave if you're in here. You have. And a 1. Can you see how it's expanding now? So we need a 2. She's going to start patting me. And a 1. Come, push your pet. Right, I need 2. This is our last ones. And a 1. She might go and sit in the window because the sun's coming through quite nicely at the moment. So as you can see, we have our treble combinations there. So I'm actually going to join with a slip stitch. So I'm chuckling because she keeps putting a paw up as if to pat at me. Yes, yes, I think she's been as sad as the rest of us. I think she's missing her something terrible. So right, we're going to move on to our next part, and we're going to start again with 3 chain because it is still a treble round, but they're going to be front and back post trebles. If you're not sure on them, they're easy, but you might need to watch. So we're going to start with our 3 chain because that's how we'd start every round if it's a treble round. Now into the next stitch normally, yep. So this one, can you see that's there? So that's the equivalent to that stitch. So that sort of goes straight up there. And then we take our next one, and you can see where the post is, can't you? Yeah, we're going to go around that post. It doesn't matter whether you start with front or back post, completely up to you. Oh, there she is. Can you see her? That's really not helpful, Pippi. So yarn round as if I'm doing a normal treble, and then I'm going to go in the front, round the back. So I've gone round that stitch. Can you see what I've done there? Then I'm going to grab my yarn, I'm going to pull it through, and I'm going to continue as a treble. Yeah, and next one is going to go in the opposite direction. So yarn round, and this time I'm coming in from the back around that post. Now I sort of nip it here to hold the yarn, to pull it through, and then continue with the treble. You might need to see that a couple of times. Yarn round, this time from the front, round the back, grab the yarn, pull it through, and treble. This time from the back, so yarn round, come in from the back, round the post. I just nip it to hold it and pull it through and continue with that treble. So that was a back. So yarn round, in from the front, around the back, pull it through and treble. In from the back, around the front, pull it through and treble. So just keep telling yourself back, front, back, front, back, front, back, front. First round, sometimes you will go wrong. I know sometimes I've gone a back back or a front front or something like that. But when you get to the next round, you'll be able to see where the stitches are going. So don't worry too much about that. So let me get this right now. Right, from the front, am I not? We'll soon find out. You will be able to tell. So if I do it wrong, we'll say it's a learning thing. So yarn round, in from the front, round the back, pull it through and treble. And let's have a look what I did. No, I did it right. Can you see how it sort of dints in, sticks out, dints in, sticks out? That is sort of the way to remember it. So yarn round from the back, round the front, pull it through and finish as a treble. When you get into them, they're quite nice. They make a great rib. Yarn round, in from the front, round the back, pull it through and finish treble. From the back then, just take your time with this. And maybe have a play with the stitch if you're not used to it. Yarn round from the front, round the back. So they're round the post they go in. It is a bit odd when you first do it, but they are really handy little sort of stitches to learn. So yarn round the front, round the back, in the front and round the back, should I say. So yarn round from the back, round the front and treble. From the front, round the back and pull it through. Round the back. We're nearly there. Can you see? So this next one's a front one, round and we have got round. So we need to do a slip stitch into the top of that first 3 chain. Okay, so slip stitch and join. So I think you can already see how there's a little bit of texture appearing. And so lots of different ways you can use this. You can do it as a wider rib, so you could do all sort of do a normal treble, then do a front and back one, so on and so forth. There's lots of ways you can play with it, but I'm going to show you how we should be able to see it quite easily now. So 3 chain, because we've started the round. Oh, she's left me now, bless her. And as I mentioned, you can see this one sticks up and this one doesn't. This one sticks up, this one doesn't, and that is what you've got to look for, and that will help you. If it sticks up, yarn round, it's easy, just goes round there like that. If it goes behind, so it's sort of dropped in there, it is in there, always double check, because you can miss these stitches quite easily. Yarn round, this time I've got to come in from the back. This is the harder one of the two. So take your time when you do the stitch. This one sticks up, so that means I can come in from the front and just go round the back, and that's an easy one. The next one, yarn round, but it's from the back. Yarn round from the front. I'm just going to pause that a second so you can see how the rib is creating there. I'm hoping you're going to be able to see that well. And also, to make a point of, we did 1 treble row, we've done 1 front and back loop. I keep saying loop, it's a post round. We're on our 2nd front and back post round. Okay, so when we've done this, this is our 2nd round. This is where sometimes your tension might alter. You might need an extra round. To me, I've actually written down I've done 9 rounds. We will see, because I can't read that bit of my pattern. So this next one goes in from the back because it's an indented one. This one comes in from the front because it sticks out from the back. You're just alternating, but you can actually sort of see where the stitch is to go this time a little bit easier. So we've got a from the front one, we've got a from the back one, from the front. Oh, or not, I dropped the stitch. In we go. When you get the idea of the pattern, it's going to be a really, really quick one. Now we do need to watch where we started, because it's sometimes a little bit there. That's where we started. I always have to check. If you're counting, you wouldn't have that as an issue, because you've got 18 stitches, remember. Around the back, or not. So the ones that come in from the back are the harder ones, definitely. Let me have a look. Right, now watch this, because it's very easy to miss this final stitch. That is our chain, but there is still a stitch here, and it's from the front stitch. And then I'm going to slip stitch join. So that's another round. So that's 2 rounds done. So again, you can see how it is forming nicely. Now don't worry if you think, oh, that looks really small. Because it makes a rib, it stretches, so don't worry about that. So you do get quite a nice stretch from that. So we're going to start with 3 chain, and this is our 3rd round of front and back post trebles. You can see how that's, you can see the line now, can't you? So we know that one goes that way. That's easy peasy one. And then that means the next one's got to come in from the back. Not so easy peasy one. Again, though, you do sort of develop little techniques on how to do it the more you do it. And then that was the front one. So if you watch, as I mentioned about me nipping it, I sort of like nip it together, and it helps me pull the stitch through. But I'm sure you have your own way of doing that, or you'll develop your own way of doing it, even if it's not something you've done before. So I'm just going front post, back post, front post, back post, all the way around. Whenever it sticks up, it's from the front. If it doesn't stick up, it's from the back. And I didn't wrap my yarn. There we go. Let's check where we are. Now I've got a little way to go yet. Sometimes it's hard to tell where you are when you're doing rib, and that's why if you've got a nice bit of quiet, count it. It makes it much nicer. I caught my yarn there. Nope, it doesn't want to go through. From the back, here's why I have to nip it and pull it through. And then drop the stitch. Why not? I like to show you that if I make mistakes, because I do make mistakes, we all make mistakes. I think sort of we'd be a bit deluded to think somebody just sits there and is perfect when they're doing the work. We all drop stitches, we all make mistakes, we all do the wrong stitches, we all split our yarn, we all run out of yarn when we're doing things. Yeah, nobody's perfect. We're always learning. Where's my 3 chain? It's there. If you want to pop a stitch marker there, you could do actually. I've got 2 more stitches to go. So that was a back one. That means I've got 1 front, 1 left. As I said, that last stitch you really do have to be careful, because I know I've made things in the past and I kept missing it and it was like getting smaller rather than larger. So slip stitch into the top of our 3 chain, and that is our round 3, so you can see the shape coming. Now I have actually just made, as you can imagine, a little doll hat like this. It's really cute. But so we're making this for Ferrero Rochers. In fact, let me squeeze that Ferrero Rocher out and we can try it on it in a bit. So 3 chain, and off we go again. So if it sticks out, we come in from the front. If it doesn't, we come in from the back. So the more rows, rounds, whichever you're doing for the rib, this is rounds obviously, but whatever you're doing with the rib, the more rows or rounds you've got, the easier it is to feel where you're meant to be going. You sort of relax a little bit more when you're doing it. Let me double check I'm on the screen properly there. I need to keep in the middle. So hard to keep in the middle sometimes, because I do work very close to my body when I'm working sort of myself. Whereas for the camera, I have to sort of put my arms out a little bit. I can feel myself slowly sort of sneaking towards my body again. We almost I did it again. It's those back ones. When you go in from the back, it's so easy to drop the yarn off your hook. Whereas when it's the front one, it sort of stays in place. It doesn't feel like it's much different to a regular treble. But yeah, the back one's not so easy for that. And they're nearly there. We have 2 more stitches. And 1 more stitch. And our slip stitch join. See, it's coming together nicely. We now have 4 rounds. Let's see if my count of 9 was correct here. So we need 3 chain, 1, 2 and 3. And I think I can speed it up a little bit for you now. If you're not happy with the speed that I'm working at, if you think I'm too fast or too slow, you can always alter the settings. That's the beauty of YouTube. Or to be honest, if you're new to this stitch, I would watch it, I would pause it, I would have a go, I would watch it, I would pause it, have a go. I'd keep doing it like that. That is how, if I've wanted to learn a new craft, is what I do. I sort of pause a bit, do a bit, pause a bit. So you can sort of alter that as well, because I have to remember I'm working for people of all levels. I do believe a beginner can make this, but if they've not done the stitch before, they might be a little bit apprehensive, so they might want to take it slower. But then some of you guys out there go, oh yeah, I know what that stitch is, and you can whiz past it. You'd probably be faster than me, but I've got to sort of keep it in mind that I do have people at different levels. But like I say, the beauty of YouTube is you can slow or pause or stop or whatever way you want to do it. Although if you slow me, my voice does sound a little bit silly. My stomach's thinking of food now. I'm all right calling my crochet hook a spoon, but my mind is on food. It shouldn't be. It's only because I've tried to get the videos done before my breakfast, but then everything's took, oh, doesn't want to go in. Everything's took longer than I thought. So by the time I've done my videos, because I've just done 3 different videos, it'll be dinner time. So we need 1 more stitch there. And slip stitch join. So that is round 5. Shall we have a little look on how it's going with our Ferrero Rocher? So squeeze it in, you can see. So now you need to start to decide how many more rounds you need. I know I need more, but some of you, if your tension's looser, you may not. But we're going to carry on anyway, and we're going to go for our round 6. So we start with our 3 chain. 1, 2, and 3, and off we go. I do need to start on some Christmas items as well. So now I've done, I think I know I say this isn't Halloween, but I know people will make these for Halloween as well, or for autumn displays. So I think I'm probably going to say I've done with the Halloween-y sort of autumn Thanksgiving sort of theme, I think, at the moment. And I think I need to move on to the Christmassy items. So I said this is round 6, isn't it? So I think I'm going to do 7 and then double check on our little chocolate. Again, your chocolate, if it isn't a Ferrero Rocher, could be slightly longer, could be slightly shorter. You know, they're all varying, so you do need to keep checking. I mean, when I make the pattern, I will say it is to fit on a Ferrero Rocher, but obviously, depending on what your sweet is, you will need to vary it slightly. Right, we're almost round 4, round 6. Oh, and you know, I swear I sort of put myself off every time I say something like that. It goes wrong. I do a stitch wrong or something like that. Right, what my can you see how close that stitch is? You would miss it, but if you look, there is a line. Can you see that line that's running down? So it means there is a stitch there, because our chain is on our indented bit. So slip stitch join and mark it down for round 6. So round 7 coming up, and then we need to do another check on our little chocolate. 1, 2, 3, and off we go. You can see it's much easier when you can see, well, you can see where the sticky out bits are, or the rib part that sticks out. So you say if it's one of those, you know you're coming in from the front, but you can still go wrong like I've just done. That's the problem. I'm talking and I'm like, yeah, do this, but don't do what I do. Right, yes, the bit that sticks out, we come from the front, don't we? Obviously. Oh dear. I think perhaps next time, before I start doing something, I should eat, so my brain's not focused on other things. Especially when you're working with chocolate, it's not good. You're hungry and you're working with chocolate. Oh, there we go. I hope you can't hear my stomach rumbling. I don't think you can, because the microphone does seem to block out little things like that. But it's definitely having a good old rumble there. And our last stitch, which is very close, so watch out for it. And that is our end of our round 7. So we're now going to have a little look. Sometimes when I've made a pattern out, I do end up adjusting it, but it's great to do a pattern check this way before I pop it on for a pattern for you guys. So I think I'm there. Look at that. Because I want to do a double crochet round at the end, so we're going to do that next. But yes, we are there. We are there. So I'm going to write on my pattern before I forget that that was 7 rounds. And we're going to do 1 round of just 1 double crochet into each stitch. It's just really just neatens it off. You don't have to do it, but I do find it neatens it off nicely. So off we go. Remembering where you started with that is we're going to count. We'll count, shall we? We'll count. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and our last stitch is 18, and we'll do a slip stitch. And we'll fasten off. So that's our orange done. Our orange may sound like we're doing an orange. That's our orange yarn finish now. So we do have our little, sort of, it looks a bit weird, like it's like a little cactus, doesn't it? You can make them into little cactuses. I'm terrible for that. I'm making something and I'm like, oh, well, actually it could be something else. So the actual double crochet round does tighten it up a bit. So it pulls it round around the bottom of your chocolate a little bit more. So it's up to you whether you do that round. But that is our basic pumpkin shape. So we're going to change our yarns over back to our green. Now, oh, I was going to put it in the bowl and now it's on the floor, but we haven't got much to do, so I'll leave it there. So it's going to be this stalk and this curl and this leaf. Again, that's a little bit optional to you, whether you do them. You could just do a simple stalk and leave it at that. Entirely up to you. You can make that longer, you can make it shorter. We're going to do it the length I've got there. So I'm going to do my slip knot onto there. Let's move that over a little bit. So my yarn's going to be running around the floor. The cat has left the room now, so hopefully she's not going to be having a fight with it. And we're going to start with 15 chains. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. Now into these 15 chain, I'm just double checking what I've written there. You're going to be doing 3 double crochets in each one. That's what gives us this curl. It's quite a common one used for various different sort of crochet techniques. I've seen done for unicorn hair, doll hair. This is 3 double crochets into each chain, so that's 3 in that one. It does curl, which is a bit of a pain when you're trying to work with it, but I've seen it used for so many different things. I've used it for loads of different things as well. But it does make quite a nice curl for you. Great for octopus legs. So that's 3, or not, or drop it. So you're just doing 3 in each of those chain. You can see it's already starting to curl and get in the way. So that's good. If it's not curling, that's not good. You need it to curl. Obviously, if you're doing 3 in each of our 15, you're ultimately getting 45 stitches there. But you could do it any length you wanted. So whatever length of the chain you want to start with, you just put that 3 double crochets into each one. Oh, that one's a bit of a tight one. You have to be careful with your chain. This is where, if you're really good and consistent with your chains, your actual work will work out better. You do need a good practice with that chain. Just a little pause there. Just needed a little drink. So off we go. We're still continuing with our 3 double crochets into each one. Can you see how it's curling up? I mean, if necessary, just sort of give it a little tug. Can you see the shape there? And it'll sort of straighten it out a little bit. Right, it would help if I don't drop it off the hook, wouldn't it? So, feels like you're going on forever though. You think, oh, there's only 15 chain, that's not much. But then obviously, because you're doing 3 in each one, it takes a little bit longer than you anticipated. We're nearly at the end now though. So that's a 3. Couple more stitches to go. 3 in this one. And 3 in our last one. Oh, it's caught on my pen. It's making a little noise there. So that is our, I don't know, do we call it a tendril? I'm not quite sure what we call it. I have to pull the yarn that way because I don't want it falling off, running off the table, and then I can't catch it. Right, so that is 1 tendril. You can make as many as you want. Pumpkins do just have them sort of hanging around. I know ours are starting to do that. And you can fix them how you want. I stitched it on at the top. You can stitch it on bottom if it won't stay in place because it does wiggle about a little bit. So that is a tendril. up to you how many you do. We'll go on to the leaf now. The leaf again, it's just an amigurumi leaf. It's just a little round circle. Couldn't be any easier, but it's an optional thing for you. So we're starting with our 2 chain, 6 double crochets into the first one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. 2 double crochets into each. I think you probably guessed what that was going to be. So that's 1. I've had a drink. I'm going to need another one because my voice is going now. It's only because like I said, I've done 3 videos back to back, not all crochet ones. But obviously I've been talking quite a bit. And I've also just lost count. We need ultimately 12 stitches here. But all leaves are different. One thing about when you're making leaves and flowers, you can get away with it. I'm going to have a drink, bear with me. I'm back. It just for tickle there, that's all it was, just a dry throat. So was that a 2? It was, yes. You can usually feel when you're at the end anyway with this. So I'm just going to do a quick check. I think I might need one more. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I stopped at the right place. I'm pleased with that. So next round is going to be another 2 in each. So we'll end up with 24 stitches. So it's 2 in each of the 12. So I'm going to count this time. That's 1, 2 in 2. In number 3. Number 4. Number 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. 2 more. 11. And our last one is 12. And that's it. I'm going to do a slip stitch because I like to do a slip stitch to finish my work. And you've done. That's a leaf. That was easy enough. Again, optional. We don't need leaves. But I know our pumpkins at the allotment have got quite a few leaves on them. So that's a leaf. Obviously, we need a stalk, which, to be honest, the stalk is my yarn has run off the table. I know it had run off the table, but it's actually pulled the other end I was using. So let's get this yarn. Don't want it on the floor anyway. There you go. It's back. The yarn is back. It escaped, but it is back. So we're going to do the stalks. I think the stalk is the one thing maybe you do need, even if you don't do the leaf and the tendrils. And again, could not be easier. We have our slip knot. And all you're going to do is 6 chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And then you're going to do a double crochet into each of those 6. 1, 2, it's going to turn out at 5, isn't it? I always do that. I don't know why I do that, because obviously that 6th one is the turn. And 5. And that's it. That's all you need to do. So we'll cut that off. Make sure you always leave enough yarn to actually stitch onto the items you're working on. And let's just fasten that off there. So it does actually sort of curl itself a little bit when you do that. So basically, you're just going to be stitching that on into place. You can, let's say, leave it like that if you want, or then we can stitch a little tendril in place, and maybe, oh, you're catching it, a little leaf as well. So it is quite a simple pattern when you get into that front and back post crochet trebles. They are weird if you're not used to them, but do persevere with them because they're great. Because I'm going to be using them soon because I want to make some fingerless gloves, and I'm going to be using that technique in that. But that's it basically. That is our little chocolate cover there for whatever chocolate you choose. I say my poor battered Ferrero Rocher because it's my practice one. I say, good excuse to eat it, isn't it? And I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you're going to make some. Let me know whether you are doing them for Halloween, Thanksgiving, or just because you like pumpkins. Like I say, we've got all sorts. in our house. I've got like a little pumpkin collection just as like an autumn display. So I might put that there. I might not. I might just eat the Ferrero Rocher, which I think is the more likely thing to happen there. So thank you for watching. If you do enjoy my videos, please like, subscribe and share. I will get a pattern made out for this one, even though it's quite a simple pattern, and I will pop it onto my website, so I'll pop all the links, etc, etc. Please like, subscribe, share, you know what to do. And once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon with possibly Christmas, I think. So see you soon. Bye bye for now.